welcome in. It is Friday. A round of applause, I think, for all of us, not only here, but all of you certainly watching. We have made it to the end of the work week. We made it to the weekend. It's really been an A-plus week, I think, in my opinion. We've had beautiful weather, cool mornings, nice, sunny, comfortable, warm afternoons, no rain or storms to dampen any of your outdoor evening plans. You've been able to get out there, grill a little bit here or there. It's just been so nice. And we're now getting to that part of the year where you might be wanting to travel a little bit further northward. Perhaps see some of the beautiful fall foliage. This is one of those locations up in good old Gatlinburg, Tennessee, up on Rocky Top up there, eastern Tennessee. You can almost kind of see the mountain itself split in half. The lower elevation still rather green and kind of the foothills there around Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, whereas really the northern or top half of the mountain certainly has kind of that rust color to it. Some of those reds and oranges and yellows beginning to pop up. So might be a good spot. Head up towards western North Carolina, northern Georgia, eastern Tennessee, some good spots to see some foliage out there. Now they will have a chance for perhaps some thunderstorms on Sunday, but tomorrow, nothing to be, worried about, really. Nothing to complain about, stick your nose up at. Looking good up there. And also here locally, similar story to what we've seen nearly all week long. Barely any clouds out there. Blue sky, sunshine. I mean, just look at that. You can't beat that on a Friday afternoon. You got 78 degrees in downtown Jacksonville. One thing that's making it feel rather comfortable are those dew points. You got a dew point of 54, so rather dry air still in place. We have had a little bit of a east-northeast wind throughout the day, about 10 to 15 miles per hour, so I'll consider it a cool breeze, not really windy. I wouldn't even necessarily say breezy, just a light breeze that comes on in every now and again, but it has helped kind of moderate our temperatures a bit. Many of us currently sitting in the upper 70s. Jacksonville flirted with 80 degrees yet again today, but 77 in St. Simons, Brunswick, 78 down in Orange Park at NAS Jax, whereas inland locations, as we've seen nearly every single day this week, it's been a little bit warmer. You got low 80s from Gainesville up to Valdosta, similar story up in Ware County and Waycross as well. So it's going to be a nice night for Friday Night Football out there. We're still, about 2.5 hours away from kickoffs for most of the games, since they start anywhere between about 6:30 and 7:30. Thankfully, you don't have to worry about getting blown off the bleachers. Last week, we had that nor'easter in place, of course, so we were getting 30, 40 mile per hour wind gusts. We had those showers moving on shore, kind of just a nasty Friday. We are in luck. Nothing like that here today. As I mentioned, just a little bit of a northeast breeze, about 10 to 15 at the most out there right now. But it certainly has felt like fall nearly all week long. And some of those fall staples are quickly approaching. 14 days until Halloween. Can you believe that? I certainly can't. I don't have my Halloween outfit. I know Lee Southwick was telling me she was going to check back in every single day to see how I had progressed with getting it, piece by piece. We're still at the same point we were on Monday when Lee and I talked about it. I have no plans for a Halloween costume. So if someone has a suggestion, if they think I would look great or look terrible in a certain type of Halloween outfit, please comment in. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, we'd love to hear it. Maybe I will take you up on your suggestion and invest some money into whatever costume or outfit you might think of. But beyond that, of course, Florida-Georgia weekend, or Georgia-Florida weekend, I forget which one it is this year, but that often typically signifies when daylight saving time ends. Only 16 days away from that. So yeah, not this weekend, not next weekend, but the following, we're going to fall back, unfortunately. I know a lot of folks hate that. The sunsets are going to be before 6 p.m. It gets dark quite early, and definitely just a telltale sign that fall is now here. We're quickly approaching Thanksgiving and then eventually Christmas down the line. So perhaps just a reminder, all that holiday shopping not too far away now. But at least for tonight, as I mentioned, looking good for Friday Night Football. For any other outdoor plans you have out there, currently in the 70s, cooling off into the 60s during the overnight period. Temperatures then early Saturday morning near sunrise. upper 50s for Jax, low 60s in a few spots, depending on where you're at, especially on the south side, could be a little bit warmer, but really anywhere west of Highway 17. So our inland locations, yes, they are going to be a bit chilly tomorrow morning. Look at that. Folkston 53 for a morning low tomorrow. McClenny 54, similar story, Lake City, Waycross, Brunswick even. So mid 50s for many of our inland Florida counties and much of southeastern Georgia tomorrow as our fall-like weather pattern continues. I wish we had some of those fall leaves just fluttering around in the breeze out there. We don't have any of that. We have palm fronds that fall off outside our weather windows out here from time to time when it gets breezy. No leaves though. Anyways, our beautiful weather is continuing on into the weekend. Unfortunately though, our drought conditions are continuing to expand eastward. Moderate to severe drought has really set up across the I-75 corridor in the Swanee Valley. And as we continue to just see a lack of rainfall and this dry spell continues, those drought conditions will continue to worsen and will deteriorate even further. So we're going to keep a close eye on that, but perhaps some of us might have a little bit of a reprieve and some relief in the form of a weak front that rolls on in on Sunday. Could bring some rain chances, but don't have to worry about that tomorrow. Lou and I have talked about this a lot. First day of buck season up in the good old peach state of Georgia. Looking good up there, mid 50s as we just kind of touched on, or even low 50s in a few isolated spots up in Georgia, depending on where you're hunting at. But it's feeling fresh for you and for the buck. So hopefully you got all your gear ready to go. You got your camo set out. You've already done the like the washing with the no smell detergent so that they don't smell you, and you hang up your clothes outside to dry. You don't want to be waking up tomorrow morning. You're already going to be a little like drowsy or groggy and be like half asleep trying to find where all your gear is and your gun and the bullets and ammo and all that stuff. So just get it ready tonight. Be prepared. That way you're good to go heading out the door. You want to be in that positive mindset. Visualize getting that trophy buck and then materialize it for yourself and it'll come true, right? Mid 60s though by about mid-morning tomorrow. So after that point, it's going to start to feel a little bit warm out there in the woods, certainly considering we're going to have lots of sunshine tomorrow. Truly a picture perfect day for your Saturday. Nice cool morning, sunny, warm afternoon. Nothing to complain about out there for Saturday because the dry air and the high pressure that we've talked about at length here pretty much all week long still staying put through tomorrow. Now, look ahead late Saturday and into Sunday. We've got this front, this cold front, moving across the southern plains initially, but then really ramping up as it hits that Mississippi River Valley. There's going to be a decent amount of Gulf moisture flow return. So southerly winds pulling up warm, moist air up out of the Gulf, kind of feeding ahead of this front. Could bring some strong to severe storms to portions of Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama late Saturday, and then continuing into Sunday. So here's Sunday morning, 8:30. You'll notice there, eastern Alabama, western Georgia, and the Florida Panhandle getting rocking and rolling with some morning storms there. So perhaps you're singing one or two hallelujahs out there at your church service. Could be a couple thunder boomers along with it. Now, by the time we get to the middle of the afternoon locally here, we are expecting this front to pretty much wither away and die out. It's going to lose a lot of juice. It's going to lose a lot of moisture content by the time it reaches the eastern seaboard and that I-95 corridor. So we're thinking really about 3 to 7 p.m. could see some showers out towards the Swanee and western parts of the Okefenokee. So from Lake City to Waycross, that's going to be your best chance for rain. Areas further east of there, the whole way over to the coastline, we will have some rain chances, but they're going to be rather slim. And I think 80% of us probably just see an increase in cloud cover there through Sunday afternoon. And our high-res futurecast is going to picture this or depict this for you perfectly. Few isolated showers, but mainly just an increase in cloud cover along that front. And most of the rain chances or showers that do develop will generally stay west of Highway 301 and will be for our more inland and western counties out there on Sunday. So otherwise, yes, we're watching for those late day showers, but rest of the day on Sunday looking good. It's going to be warm, a little breezy out of the south. Temperatures in the mid 80s out there. But what does the rest of next week look like and the tropics? Stay tuned. We'll talk about that here. We're going to take a short break. Welcome back, folks. We talked a little bit about the weekend and the front that we have on the way on Sunday, limited rain chances. I want to show you, perhaps at the very most, I think, how much we could actually see. I mean, most of us, it's going to be less than probably a half inch of rain. A quarter of an inch is generous for most of us. I think the vast majority of us, at best, get maybe just a tenth of an inch. So best chances for rain will really be further west and inland. But really not a whole lot of drought relief is going to be on the way. A little bit, but not a lot. And we're going to need a lot more than just a few showers to really make a dent. I mean, if you just look over the last week, we've now gone 7 straight days without any measurable rainfall in Jacksonville. I talked a little bit about the drought conditions at the start of the stream here. Our western areas, and really not even western now at this point. I mean, Glenn and Camden County, Nassau County have been included in this. So really areas west of the St. Johns River and west of I-95, things are very dry. Moderate to severe drought continuing to creep in from Columbia County up through Clinch, Ware, Pierce, Brantley, all feeling the hurt and the brunt of just these, somewhat dry weather patterns for our inland areas. Yes, I know St. Augustine and St. Johns County has seen a decent amount of rain from some of the nor'easters. Similar story for Flagler and down towards Daytona Beach, but for many areas, that's not the case. Even in Jacksonville, our rainfall deficit for the year now is just under 8 inches. So they're at 7.79 inches below average. And our wet season rainfall between June, July, August, and September is about 8 inches below. So although, we have had rain and storms out there in some spots, it is very, very dry, and it's not going to help that we really don't have all that many more rain chances in the forecast over the next 7 days. We have that slight chance for showers, perhaps 1 or 2 isolated storms on Sunday, but that's really about it over the next week. So we're gonna have to monitor the drought conditions very closely here over the coming days, just to make sure they don't really get to the point of having to worry about wildfire threats a little bit earlier in the season than we typically do. More often than not, that's more of a concern by late winter into the spring months, but perhaps we'll have to be watching it a little bit closer to that. Enough of that, though. We're going to transition here a little bit, talk about the tropics. 2 blobs now, or 2 highlighted areas from the National Hurricane Center. I'm going to start with the one furthest to the north, just to the north of Bermuda. This is that same old nor'easter, that pesky nor'easter that brought us the high winds and some of those coastal showers at this time last week. Moved up the eastern seaboard, has kind of just been meandering around off the coast of the Mid-Atlantic and New England states, Cape Cod even, and now it is north of Bermuda. It's a warm core low, essentially, and there are some tropical characteristics with regards to it. So the National Hurricane Center put a 10% chance over the next 2 days and a 10% chance over the next 7. Really not concerned about that. It's not going to develop into anything significant, so no concerns there. The area that we are watching, you can see it there on the bottom. That tropical wave designated with the yellow X has been given a 30% chance of development over the next 7 days. So still a low chance, primarily because we're not expecting anything for at least the next 5 or 6 days. When we could perhaps see something would be next Thursday, I think, really at the earliest, more so Friday, and then into Saturday and Sunday of next weekend. We could see some, gradual development from this system. You'll note there are some significant changes or just differences and deviations between some of our, larger, longer range models. The American GFS model, you can see it there. All of those concentric rings shows the storm developing to the south of Puerto Rico, strengthening quite rapidly off the very warm ocean waters and the high levels of divergence aloft in the atmosphere. Typically, you need upper level divergence. If you think about it, a hurricane's essentially an area of low pressure, right? All the air is coming towards the center at the surface. All that air is going up. It needs to go somewhere, and it's got to go out at the top. So you need an upper level high over a surface low to really allow the storm to ventilate itself. And that's really what's going to be in place across the Caribbean late next week and into the weekend. That surface low and that upper level high, creating some upper level divergence for the storm to continue to grow vertically and to ventilate itself. So long and short of that, essentially here, is the GFS really feeds into that and shows the storm strengthening, but recurving off to the north and northeast before it really traverses further west. In contrast to that, the European model, it shows the tropical wave kind of making its way into the Caribbean, but not really strengthening nearly as much. Perhaps seeing a tropical depression, maybe a tropical storm at most. And these are just two of the models we look at. There's the Google DeepMind, there's the European AI model that's a new one as well. All of them show the potential for some development by next weekend and really into the last few days of October. So that's really what we're trying to watch here. And it is a favorable environment, as I said, not only because of the upper level dynamics that are in place, but also just how warm the ocean waters are, not only at the surface, but really, within the first 10 to 15 meters of the ocean. I've shown this a couple times this week, and hopefully the concept makes sense. The deep warm water values. So essentially, that warm water goes deeper in the ocean with the warmer and brighter colors. So from, again, Hispaniola and the Dominican over to Jamaica, southern sides of Cuba, and then over towards the Yucatan, still some very, very warm water. So that's going to provide plenty of fuel, provide plenty of juice and energy and moisture for a storm that would happen to move into this area and would try to develop. So between the upper level high and the lack of wind shear in the Caribbean itself and the very, very warm ocean waters, it is just going to be a favorable environment for some level of tropical development. But I want to stress, it'll be by the end of next week and into next weekend. So we're talking 7 to almost 14 days out in the forecast. So a lot can change, of course, between now and then. There's a lot of time to traverse through, and there's a lot of space for that tropical wave to move through as well. It's got to move first, through the Leeward Islands by about the middle of next week, or if not early next week, perhaps at the earliest. So don't feed into all of the social media hype. Some people will post a run of perhaps, the GFS model, and it will show this monster storm developing. That is just one model run. What we're really trying to look for are patterns, not only between the GFS, but patterns between the GFS and the European and the Google DeepMind or Google AI and the European AI model and the just different hurricane models that we have. We're really trying to just look at different patterns over a day, 2, 3 days even, to see where the storm may try to go if it even develops. We're going to talk more on the tropics here and why, at least right now, seems unlikely that we would see something from it after this quick short break. Welcome back, folks. I know we have a couple minutes left here, so I want to just talk about the tropics themselves. Of course, we're monitoring that tropical wave with the low 30% chance of development in the Caribbean over the next 7 days. And I've tried to stress, if we were to see development, it would not be for at least a week, until next Thursday and Friday and into next weekend. We kind of talked about why conditions are favorable, the warm waters and the lack of wind shear, specifically in the Caribbean itself, and that upper level high that helps the storms to vent themselves and to grow. Now, why I currently think the chances of the storm impacting Jacksonville specifically appear low, primarily for this reason. We're going to have a large dip in the jet stream. You can almost kind of see it traverse from west to east there. It crosses Texas, through the northern Gulf, and then pretty much right over the state of Florida, and then continues to kind of arc down towards the Bahamas. So the jet stream is going to be there, and those bright colors, that is the wind shear. So we're talking anywhere from about 30 to 40, almost 45 knots of wind shear. What does that mean? Hurricanes do not like wind shear. Tears the storms apart. It stretches them out, kind of shreds them. And there's a lot of wind shear between Jacksonville and the Caribbean. Okay, so this is for next Saturday. I do want to point that out. This is going to be for late next week and into next weekend. Wind shear seems to be in place. So depending on where the storm tracks, right now it seems like there's two main scenarios. One, it kind of recurves to the north before it traverses too far west, or if it does move further into the Western Caribbean, more than likely it will kind of just meander around in the Caribbean for some time because of how far south that jet stream goes and the amount of wind shear it has to the north. That storm will more than likely will not be able to penetrate all of that. But that's just what it looks like right now. Of course, as I've said, a lot can change between now and then. So that's why you need to check back in with us. We're going to monitor it here. We're, of course, going to give you the latest updates tonight, through the weekend, and, of course, through all of next week here as well, as we, fine-tune the forecast and see if we do get a tropical storm Melissa, that's next name up on the list, by late next week, or perhaps we don't. So just some key takeaways here. As I mentioned, just stand by, monitor, check back in with us. Those warm waters and the atmospheric dynamics could support development by the end of next week, but please try not to feed too much into the social media hype. Those guys who are just trying to get clicks online aren't necessarily doing anyone any favors out there right now. So locally, let's bring it back home before we wrap up. Got a minute to go. Beautiful Saturday, waking up to temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. Sunshine, a warm afternoon, highs near 80. Sunday will be the warmest day over the next several, mid 80s. A little bit of a